FM.
I've got Tyler McLelland on the other side of my screen, down below actually. I've got another camera there. So, you're from Scotland in Fife, and you're a boccia player. So thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
So Tyler, going back into your early years, you actually have you have a rare disability, arthrogryposis, well, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, arthrogryposis. It's apparently one of the rarest conditions in the world, and it is my case of it. When I was born, I was told, well, my mum and dad were told that I had one of the worst cases in the UK that they'd ever seen in the UK. So yeah, it's really rare. I think it's something like 1 in 1,000. No, one in some big number somewhere. I couldn't tell you the exact numbers right now, but yeah, it's really rare.
Yeah, and so for those of you that actually don't know what it is, it's the majority of joints locked together.
Yeah.
So for you, I hear that you're in a seating position all the time with your legs, and then you've got a straight arm and one arm that's able to do things. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was born with dislocated hips, so that's part of the reason why I'm constantly in the seated position. My knees are locked in a bent position, so it basically just looks like I'm sitting constantly. Even when I'm lying down flat on my back, my legs are still in that same position. My right arm is completely rigid, like straight. You cannot bend it at all. My left arm is only able to bend because I got a big surgery done about 7 years ago now, I think. That they removed a bone out of my arm to basically dislodge the joint, so it's able to bend now, which is good and bad at the same time for certain things. Like my boccia, it's not that good for boccia because I've not now got the straight arm for it, but I'll just have to adapt to it because it's better for everyday life.
Growing up in the sort of young ages, did you have any challenges or barriers presented to you at school?
Yeah, there was obviously the typical bullying aspect of people just not understanding the situation. Like, for example, I would get called Robocop and Knuckles because of the way that my hands are. But I think just the way that I am, I just kind of like take it on the chin and turn it into banter. Like I poke fun at myself all the time. So I didn't really get offended by it. But when I told my mum would get really annoyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that. But other than that, in primary school there wasn't really much issues. But then as I got up to high school, the issues became more and more. Like, they didn't let me do PE at high school, although I was a high-performing athlete. So, yeah, that was annoying. They had a wall for like people that went to the school that are athletes. I never got put up on that wall, although I was an international athlete. So yeah, high school was not so good.
So you got into sport quite early in your life. You got into sport at a young age, and you joined Boccia at 10, didn't you? You started, yeah. So
Yeah.
So what was the decision that made you move towards I want to do sport? What was the reason behind that?
I think I just always had a passion. Like, I would always watch the Paralympics and stuff when I was little. Even from when I was really young. I always watched the Olympics. I watched any sport when it was on the telly and stuff. So I just always had an interest in sports, and I thought that could be me. So that made me decide that I wanted to try and find a sport for me that I could do.
And what sports did you look at? Because I know in Scotland there's only a fair few around. Obviously, Boccia at 10 years old, and then you also do wheelchair football.
Yeah. So the first sport I tried was swimming.
Okay.
I wasn't very good at that. Too athletic for me. And then I tried wheelchair racing and athletics and stuff like that. I wasn't very good at that. And then I found Boccia by speaking to Richard Brickley. And he recommended it to me. And then I think it was just after the 2018 Paralympics in Rio. No, not 2018.
2016.
The Paralympics in Rio.
2016, Rio.
Yeah. And it was Kieran Steer that became my coach for Boccia. And he was obviously high level in Boccia at the time as well, playing for GB and being pretty good, top 11 I think he was. So yeah, I learned a lot from him. Then I think that same year I found football as well, the wheelchair football, through Boccia as well, because it was at a competition that I was told about it in Edinburgh. So then the week after that I went and tried football, enjoyed that as well at Lothian Wolves Wheelchair Football Club. And since then I've loved both sports and just tried to be the best I can in both.
So did you find Boccia, was it an open day or scout?
No, it was just I think as soon as we told Richard what disability I had, he was like, Boccia's the one for me, because although it's a rare disability, a lot of the best Boccia players in the world have got arthrogryposis. Like a lot of the ones from Asia that are top 5, pretty much the majority of the top 5 have arthrogryposis. So I think that's why he was like, right, you don't even need to go to like a tryout day or anything like that. Just we'll get you in there, get Kieran to coach you, and yeah.
And you're like jackpot.
Yeah.
So yeah. Did you have any sort of like clashes between football and Boccia? Because I know some of the weekends they're kind of bits together.
Last year I had one, and that was the only one I've ever had so far. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I had a Boccia competition, and I also had a football competition where Leeds were coming up to Scotland, for like a friendly competition. But that would have been a really good learning opportunity. But it was also the Scottish Open for Boccia. So I kind of had to turn up to that. And it was on the exact same day, exact same time. Oh, for God's sake, I'm going to have to make a decision here. So I decided to go to the Boccia. Especially football just being a friendly. It was like, although it's a good opportunity, I just need to... My main focus is Boccia, because that's what can get me to the Paralympics and stuff, and that's my dream.
Good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with the, when did you decide to get into journalism?
About 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not too long ago. I wanted to be an architect to start with, and then my dad told me that it's too much hell because he's an architect and he's got his own business, and he says it's hell. You don't want to do that. So I was like, well, I'm interested in sports, so I might as well go for sports journalism.
So you didn't think about, sports coaching? What was it about journalism that made you want to pursue it?
I think because I don't want to really do coaching until I retire, or at least until like I am at a certain level where I'm experienced enough to give people my own like view and teach them when I don't even really know everything yet myself. And I just love like football and boxing and stuff like that as well. So it would just be good to get a job doing that.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. You volunteered, didn't you, at Starts Park?
Yeah, for Wraith Rovers. Yeah.
Yeah. Explain a little bit more about that.
So Wraith Rovers are the club that I have supported since I was little. They're one of my local clubs. They're just like 10 minutes down the road. So yeah, I found a passion for Wraith when it was actually my dad done a separate stag do to his normal stag do with me, because obviously at a young age I wasn't going out partying and drinking for his stag do. So he thought, I'll take him to the Wraith Rovers Rangers game at Stacks Park, and all my family were Rangers fans at the time. We couldn't get tickets for the Rangers, the away end. So we were like, let's just sit in the home end. And then since that day, Rafe got pumped 4-0, and I just fell in love with the club.
You're a volunteer. Are you doing the social media side of things, or?
So I write the match reports for the club website. Yeah.
So that probably gives you a step forward in journalism as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a good. It'll give me something for my CV as well. Like when I try and get a job.
Yeah. And then we go back to Boccia for a little bit, because you went to the Czech Open. Last year.
2 years ago, maybe 3 actually. I can't actually remember. It was last year, but it was either a year or two before.
Yeah, and you did quite well then, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done better than I expected. I think I got to the quarterfinal, I was not expecting to even get out of the group stage at that point. So, yeah, because at the time I wasn't in the best of form. I was going through a little bit of a rough patch where I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was just having one of the couple of months of just not being able to really win a game. And then I went there and we played in the pairs competition, and I had a teammate that was not from the UK. He was from Czech, didn't speak a word of English. So that was tough.
Interesting.
But we actually performed better than I thought we would. I think we might have won one game or maybe none. But yeah, that was an experience in itself. And then when it went into the singles part, I won my first game, and that just skyrocketed my confidence. And then got out the group stage, played against Radic, which he's one of the best players in the world, even at the moment. So he battered me. But it was what it was. I was just happy to be able to have that as my first ever international experience.
So, and then if that was 3 or 2 years ago, that must have been just after COVID as well. So that would have been, yeah. How was COVID for you, actually, by the way? How was it?
Yeah, it was. See, a lot of people struggled with it. I struggled with not being able to do boccia and football. But other than that, I enjoyed just being able to sit in the house and relax and pretend like I was doing my schoolwork when I wasn't.
That sounds like the dream.
Yeah.
And were you doing your just GCSEs at that point, or?
I was doing my. I think it's different up here.
Right.
We call them national qualifications. So, sorry, I was doing my Nat 5s, which is just below higher. So I don't know what that would be for yous. But so I was doing that. I still passed the majority of my stuff, but it's not all of it.
No. And then you now in the UK transition course.
Yep.
So again, that's another step up towards getting to the Paralympics, in boccia. So
yeah.
When did you join?
About 7 months ago now, I think.
Fairly new then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very new. Yeah. It's been an interesting experience. It's been a lot different to anything that I've experienced so far. I've had so many good opportunities already. Hopefully so many more good opportunities to come in the coming year, and then hopefully be able to advance into the world-class programme at some point.
So was boccia okay? You're looking at you throughout the whole time during boccia, like after Rio when you got involved, or was it just in the recent years?
I don't think in the first year anyway, because I wasn't very good at that point. But probably more in the last 4 or 5 years, I would say. I think there had been a lot more like opportunities for me to compete with them in the last 4 or 5 years. So I think they've been able to see at that point.
And you're extremely talented because I've seen a few of your matches online, and you are really good. Trust me.
Thank you. I've tried my best, but sometimes not so much.
Yeah. Obviously not Paris, but LA, 28.
Yeah, that's the goal anyway. Yeah, hopefully.
It'll be quite interesting seeing if it'll be quite hot over there as well in Los Angeles. So compare that with Scotland being quite cold. It's going to be a struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, a big shock to the system anyway.
With the disability you've got and the stuff that you've faced throughout your life, but I don't know how it is in Scotland with inequality, and I'm assuming it's pretty good. But what barriers or what sort of stuff do you want to see change to make your life and other people with a disability up in Scotland to then progress?
Well, as I said earlier, I wasn't allowed to do PE at high school, which I thought was an absolute joke considering I was an athlete myself. So I would like to see that changed. That's one of the big ones that I want to see changed. I want it to be just there not to be like a stigma around disabled people where they think as soon as you say disabled, it's like, oh, they can't do anything for themselves, and like they can't spell their own name and stuff like that. It's like, I definitely can, because a lot of people at school treated me, even some older people out with school treat me like I'm stupid sometimes, and it's like, just because I've got a disability doesn't mean that my brain doesn't work. So yeah, I'd like to see a lot of people more respectful and actually realise that disability doesn't mean mental disability. What else? Well, when I went out to Edinburgh, I would like to see a lot more places be more accessible. A lot of the bars were not so accessible, so I'd like to see that change so I can go out drinking more.
To be fair, I've been up to Edinburgh late last year, and even though it was freezing cold, the drink was quite nice. So
yeah,
I can guarantee you on that one. So yeah. And so, where are you at the moment? University?
I am currently at college.
Oh, college. So you do have the same sort of school then that we have in the UK. You have college, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sixth form basically. Yeah. So, is the journalism bit for when you retire, or is it going to go in hand with your boccia or your football?
It's more of a side thing. More just for if I get a job doing it, just to kind of keep the bills paid. Because obviously you don't really earn money. I definitely don't earn any money at the moment anyway. And it costs to do it. So, yeah, it would just be just for an income just now. But then once retire, then it would be a full-on, like, proper job.
Yeah. And is there any choice? Would that ever be? I'm pretty sure you're hoping that doesn't happen. But will there become a time where you might have to choose between one or the other, boccia and football?
Well, hopefully not. I would hate. I don't want to make that decision. That'll be horrible.
No, of course not.
As I say though, if that decision does come, it would have to be boccia that I would continue, because that's what can take me to where I want to be. And So yeah, if it comes, it'll come. I'll just have to suck up and deal with it. But I really, really hope that decision doesn't happen.
Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't happen. And because, you can thrive in as many sports as you like, because I've seen other Paralympians do 2 sports.
Yeah.
In a cycle. So that's definitely something that's possible.
That is for my argument of why I should be able to do both.
Yeah, that would be your argument. And so I say you're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
So did that come, because obviously you're in Scotland, you've got Rangers family, so how did that take to you being a Liverpool supporter?
A lot of them poke fun at me for it. They're like, oh, you're a glory hunter, you're a glory hunter. No, I'm not a bloody glory hunter. I tend to start supporting teams when they lose a game as well. Because I started supporting Liverpool when they lost the Champions League final 3-1 against Real Madrid. That was when I properly, I liked them at the time, but then after that was when I started to that was my team. Because I didn't actually really support football particularly much up until that year. And then since then, football's been life for me pretty much.
Have you ever been down to watch a game, Anfield?
Yeah, I've been to one game at Anfield, and that was 2 seasons ago. No, it was a season just after COVID when it was opening back up and stuff. It was Leicester in the Carabao Cup. The comeback, and we won on penalties. That was the game that I went to.
Well, if any people that are watching this with the same condition that you've got, is that they're sort of growing up and they're sort of facing the similar challenges that you've had, what would you like to say to them?
Just, I always say never give up. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. So just always believe in yourself. Don't let people tell you that you can't do something. And if they do, make sure you try and prove them wrong. Because that's what I've always done. And just try your best to live your best life and do what you can with it.
Well, I think that's a perfect end there. So, yeah. Thank you very much for coming on, Tyler.
Well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. It's been good.
Yeah.
Voice. Let's go. Voice FM.